All right, welcome. It's Thursday night, Patch. What's that mean?
It's Pop Culture Chaos.
Oh my lord, it's Pop Culture Chaos night. Guys, we want to welcome everybody who's going to start. We started. Oh lord, there we go. Hold on. Continue.
One moment, guys.
About to get loud.
Okay. We're good, now.
Now we're good. Sorry, had to get the sensor under control. But anyway, welcome to Pop Culture Chaos, where we talk everything pop culture, music, television, movies, whatever is in this wild world of chaos. Tonight, we welcome Vellany Crow. Crow, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. I didn't realize my tag was still the one from the last time I was on here. So,
well, that's okay. That's quite all right. I mean, I didn't change ours from our last one, so it's okay. So, to the viewers who are wondering, welcome back. Crow, we've had Crow on here when we had Ghostbusters Kaos. She was on here with us, and once we got really to know Crow, she became family, and I'm like, you know what? Me and Patch talked about it. I'm like, we need to talk to Crow, see if she wants to come on Pop Culture Chaos and tell us what about, well, we'll let you explain your enthusiasm.
I have a lot of enthusiasm. I follow a lot of fandoms, but in particular, I am a really big fan of writer-director David Lynch, and in particular, his work with Mark Frost creating Twin Peaks, which is one of my favorite things to continuously watch.
Right.
Yes, I'm learning that.
Yeah, I know. Y'all told me that
she's roped me into watching Twin Peaks with her. Which,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it, but there's a lot to keep up with and to wrap my head around.
It's a bit to take in.
Matt.
And yeah, I mean, from talking to Crow, I've told her so I remember some things, but when you want to know something about Twin Peaks or David Lynch, that's who you got to talk to right there.
Crow's the one that go to, especially if you don't understand something or whatever.
Well, the neat thing about David Lynch's work, though, is, it's very kind of dream, storytelling, and, it's up for some interpretation. So there's
question to have this one in the background.
It's one of those things where, it's what it means to you is what's important. And what makes it neat is it's one of those works that you can revisit throughout your life, and because of your own life experiences, you're going to pull different things from it, which makes it really amazing. But yeah, I mean, as Patch can attest, it's pretty interesting, and I would say, your experience with it, if you haven't re-ingrained it and gone back over it, it probably feels like a dream, and that's because that's just kind of the way it is. You have these flashes of things that don't quite make sense, a lot of imagery and stuff, and that's part of its magic, is it just kind of gets in there and leaves you like, wow, I kind of want to see that again, but why was I seeing that to begin with, or something?
Right. I mean, like when we first started talking, before you wrangled her into watching with you, I said I remember a few things. Like I said, I remember we've already talked about New Shoes.
Yeah,
New Shoes and the Log Lady.
Oh yes,
strange but interesting. When you start reading more into her past and everything and learning more about her, you understand she's not as weird as she comes off as to begin with.
Right. But growing up back then, when I watched it when it first aired, I'm sitting here like,
this is weird. Why is she like this?
It's one of them shows where you can't turn away. You're like, what?
Thank you for the stars, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
I'd say that's a really, really cool special thing that you got to experience, to be a bit of a first-hand viewer of Twin Peaks, because it was here and it was gone, and it definitely got people talking.
I mean, like other shows we've talked about, like for example, Twin Peaks. It was. I'm trying to remember
what cup she's using too.
Yes, I do. I do remember it was. I know there's like 2 or 3 seasons. 2 seasons.
It ended up being 3 seasons, but we don't usually refer to the return or the limited event series as season 3, but it is also accepted as season 3. So yeah, about where Patch
you're talking to in a way.
About where Patch is about maybe halfway through season 2. So the deep lore is really just about to kind of start hitting. Like in those last few episodes, you're going to be like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
No,
and yeah, and so Lynch is an interesting guy, and he came together with Mark Frost, and essentially I think they were interested in stuff like Marilyn Monroe and the Black Dahlia, and just interesting provoking mysteries with a bit of tragedy to them and stuff, as well as like Mark Frost being somewhat influenced by some experiences in his own life, and Lynch is often pulled from some things in his own, so they worked really well together. And Lynch's background was more as a painter, and at some point in the mid to late 60s he was like moving paintings. That's a thing,
right?
And so he slowly transitioned into what you see going on, and we love everything we got from him, but yeah,
the
his
scenery
first little short film was
to David Lynch and everything.
I remember they had some nice locations.
Always something to pay
beautiful locations. Well. That largely takes place in the Pacific Northwest.
No, I was trying to keep that out of the way, that way I don't break it.
But I do remember they had some nice locations in that series. I'm like, I can't. Where was they? Do you remember if they're? I'm sure where were they actually made.
So the pilot and the pilot and the movie Fire Walk with Me and bits and pieces. Some of it was sound stages in Southern California locations and stuff, but largely it was filmed in Snoqualmie and North Bend, Washington.
Okay.
So what's neat about that?
Washington landscape and everything.
But what's really neat about that is you can still to this day, even though they've had some recent really bad flooding over this past season, you can go and visit some of the locations still, and line up some shots, as well as have lunch in Tweed's Diner, aka the Double R Diner, where a lot of people go to spend some of their time in Twin Peaks.
Well, I'm already wanting to go to Washington for Forks, but not just for Forks, but also.
Well, apparently you're going for Forks, and now you're going for Twin Peaks. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see the Palmer House. You can see a few of those places.
The Push Beach is somewhere I've been wanting to go because of Jacob from Twilight. I was always
right. Well, some of those locations I've talked to people, and some of those locations are like Twilight, Twin Peaks, like the locations are.
They're like easily neighbors, basically.
Like I say, I know we've talked about it in our group, aside from our groups and everything we have talking out. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I may have to just go ahead and break down and just watch it from the beginning again. Because, I was bringing up like me and Patches. It was a while back, though. But we do remember, since we've been talking with you, I do remember they tried to not really revamp. But
Terry.
Hey, Miss Terry,
drop in
from South Dakota. But I remember they did release some Funko Pops of some of the characters. I remember seeing them, but I can't remember about how long ago they released them. I think it was a couple of years ago, I think.
It's been a while. It was a little random. I think those were actually right before the return. So the neat thing is, what I was kind of getting to is, so Lynch made this transition into making short films in about 1967, and then in 1977, we get Eraserhead, essentially, which is like this film that just kind of changes everything for a lot of people. Other directors like Stanley Kubrick and whatnot start taking notice. There's stories about this movie being shown to the cast of The Shining leading up to filming, and other things like that. But then fast forward a little ways, and he did The Elephant Man, which
that is a movie I haven't seen in a
while. was like his first big kind of more studio film, and then he does some other stuff. He tries to do Dune. That doesn't really work out. He ends up taking his name off of it. So the earliest version of Dune is an interesting story. You can look it up. It was going to be quite a thing at some point. Had a lot of big names attached to it over the years.
I I tried the original one time, but it just wasn't my thing. And
I
now
tried
know
watching the new remake, and
that's why I haven't.
Are just too long.
That's why I haven't attempted to watch the new ones, because I'm like, I wasn't impressed with the OG.
There's too much talking.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember the first time I saw it as a kid.
Popped up on there.
It was one of the first films that put me to sleep, because here I'm this kid and I get to go to the rental shop with my grandfather, and he's like, Vel, what do you want to watch? And I'm just like, Tremors, this movie with giant worms. I really want to watch that movie. And he'd like, for some reason, like, you don't want to watch that movie. And I'm like, why don't I want to watch? It's giant worms. Kevin Bacon. There's only one of those. And he's like, we could watch this other movie with giant worms. And I'm like, the hell you say there are giant worms in the other movie, old man. I call your BS, and I you know what? So he gets this movie Dune, and he sticks it on for me, and I promptly fall asleep. And then I tried to, the next day I got up again and was like, well, I'll give it a try, and I promptly fell asleep again. So it took me a minute to really appreciate Dune, and then when I went back, because I had this like childhood kind of hang up of like, oh gosh, it's boring. There's all this talking. It's gonna put me to sleep. I watched it and I was like, oh gosh, this is great. It's just not for a little kid, kind of thing. But then, you fast forward to 1986, you get Blue Velvet, and that brought him back in a big way. But then he kind of shifts from there
nowadays.
One that she made me watch the other night is on Netflix.
What should we talk about? Oh gosh. Oh yeah. You watched What Did Jack Do?
While we were on video chat, she made me look it up because she doesn't have Netflix to be able to stream. Mm-hmm. So she made me look up a movie that's a David Lynch movie, and I'm sitting there,
what movie?
What?
Well, because Lynch is he's old school, and yeah, I mean some of the things don't age very well, but he's one of those guys that like he's just like, get me a monkey. A suit that'll fit the monkey, a chair, and one light, and I'll make a movie. And it's just like,
what was the movie?
It's this short film called What Did Jack Do? And it's basically David Lynch kind of interrogating / having a conversation with a capuchin monkey wearing a suit that can talk, and is talking about its love for this chicken. And yeah. You just got to watch it. It premiered on Netflix several years ago, before the return.
Less than 20 minutes long. So, I mean,
yeah, it will seem longer the first time you watch it. I will give you that. It'll take a bit
more like 30 to 40 minutes, honestly.
It gives me Hit Monkey vibes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a monkey that was in love with a chicken, and he's being basically interrogated for being in love with the chicken.
Well, some stuff's gone down. They have questions. So, it's kind of that like.
It was, I'm sitting here, I'm like, what the hell?
Okay, yeah.
Why?
But anyway, so then around 1990, we get him jumping onto television with this collaboration with Mark Frost. They dropped this pilot episode. They left it open-ended, although the studio did have them film an ending for it so that it could be shown internationally as a film, hopefully just encapsulated in case it didn't get picked up as a series, which it did. Right. And it rocked on for a minute, and it was I guess this water cooler conversation piece. Like, it was made to be a show where people needed to communicate about it, because you all have these different experiences, these different skill sets and knowledges, and you're going to all pick up different things about what this mystery is. And in case you don't know, what starts off Twin Peaks is we're brought in because of a murder. A girl, the homecoming queen, is found wrapped in plastic on the bank of a big body of water.
Hold on. Laura Palmer.
You got it. That's
nice.
Fair. I just won a brownie point.
You did. So who killed Laura Palmer was a hot topic around 1990. Yeah.
I want to say it was Leo, but that's just me.
Well, you still got to find out, and we have to get through the rest of this talk without spoiling anything.
See, I don't really remember it. That's what I'm saying. I remember key characters, like I remember the policeman. He made multiple other movies after Twin Peaks. I see his face. I don't know his name.
Well, Kyle MacLachlan became kind of the everyman representation for Lynch. So he first, shows up in Dune, and then he shows up again in Blue Velvet, and then we get him in Twin Peaks.
But like I said, I remember the show because I haven't seen it since I was very young.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you saw it on television, it would have been a while back. So, you know, we got 2 seasons out of it, and then it's kind of dead in the water. And then in 1992, Lynch resurrects it somehow. He bounces this idea. I think he originally planned it as maybe being multiple films. That didn't end up working out. But and this is the thing about Lynch, is he's always a little ahead of his time. So there's things that he would do, like putting out films on the internet
Apparently
and
Melissa's
doing all these things that you know, it took the world more time to catch up to him. Where was I? Lost my train of thought slightly when you made the Melissa comment. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, Melissa commented. Well, you want to read her comment?
Melissa commented, I just got to where Log Lady said her log saw everything and asked if police officers wanted to ask the questions to the log.
Okay, Margaret Lanterman.
It's been so long.
You're gonna have to be able to truly keep up with some of the conversations, especially when me and Crow start talking.
So I've almost got you caught up into where we are in Twin Peaks, and so yeah, I've been meaning to get back to the Log Lady. So the Log Lady, Margaret Lanterman, all played by Catherine Coulson, who was an amazing person and kind of like right hand woman to Lynch, and you should look her up. She had an amazing career. She was one of the first women in the industry to do focus pulling. So she was behind holding the focus on some amazing films that you've all seen. So it's really worth checking her out. And there is a documentary about her. I believe it's called I Know Catherine, the Log Lady. I always mess up the title for some reason. Yeah. Forgive me. But so she's an amazing character because you know, I don't know, I come from an interesting area, and we had a strange lady that would kind of, whenever you thought you were kind of alone somewhere, you'd be like on the side of a road looking at the view, and it's like perfect. Well, you turn around and this lady's like standing there, and like, but she's not paying attention to you exactly. But then you ride the bus and talk to people, and everybody knows who she is, and they know her name, and they've had all these different experiences. So having a character like Margaret Lanterman, the Log Lady, I think is kind of like every town sort of has a Log Lady if you look hard enough.
We had Dancing Dave.
Oh, may he rest in peace.
We had a guy like that. He
was retired military, I believe.
Navy.
Still.
And everybody in Dothan knew him.
He was intentionally homeless.
Yeah,
he had millions of money.
But they just have their own way.
He had millions of money, but you would only see him wearing his white suit, like a baker, like he got out of a bakery. You know, white shirt, apron. He had a little sailor hat.
I think my dad used to call him dog dishes.
He wanted just to make people happy, and if you pulled up.
Dancing.
Yeah. If you pulled up beside Dancing Dave with music, he would just stop what he's doing and just start dancing for you, smiling. This man is he is Dothan's Log Lady.
Right. He's following his vibration of where the universe needs him to be and what he needs to radiate out to the people around him.
And the whole school would shut down for an hour or two.
Because
so we could all gather around watching Dancing Dave.
Wow, that's amazing.
The energy Dancing Dave gave.
When they come down, we need to try to take a trip to his peanut.
Yes, I was just about to say that. When
Headland?
No, it's downtown Dothan, I think. I don't know, but bringing that up, what she just mentioned, what as you see to our viewers, you see it says Green String Ghostbusters. We have an announcement. We made that announcement already, but how about Crow? You want to give that announcement about what's happening in August?
In August, we will be doing a con with you guys. We're going to come down there and show all the Ghostbusting love and be there and do our public outreach thing and all that awesomeness.
And because we brought this up and we're spreading the word about the green stream of what because we're all a part of it. Myself, Patch, Melissa, yourself, we've got multiple people, and I love when people ask me about it. It says it's more of a tighter knit community, I would say. that's there to look out for each other.
Mm-hmm.
You need something. Hey, we got you. Hey,
we do a lot of trade-offs,
and that's
there's a lot of trade-offs going on with our group,
and that's what we can't keep spreading the word about. Is like when y'all come down in August to support our little group.
What's up, Dion?
What's up, D?
He's talking about wanting to come down for the con, but not sure if he'll be able to due to new job and everything.
But with Crow and others from Greenstream coming down in August, y'all hold on because this is going to be something down here that
it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
But we got you.
We got you covered.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
And also it says ectomycology. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, it's kind of a term I've been batting around the office, but my background is largely in mycology and mushroom cultivation. I'm also the prime minister of the Santa Cruz Fungus Federation, so I spend a lot of time helping facilitate public education and outreach and whatnot towards people learning more about fungi. And so with the late, great Harold Ramis / Egon Spangler's famous words of, I collect molds, spores, and fungus. I like to do that, and I like to spread that. Although fungi is the plural of fungus, so just unfortunately that one's a little tricky. But yeah, we're good.
So that's why in our little group that's why we have called you our little Egon, I guess.
Well, she's the Egon / one of the Holtzmans.
Yeah, one of the Holtzmans. We now have another Holtzman who found out that has joined our little ragtag group.
She's amazing.
Dancing really Dave's Peanut is in Headland. They said he attended the unveiling, but passed away 2 months later.
Oh, dear.
They made his peanut, which we'll show you pictures if you ever find one.
I got a PhD in chickenology.
That is her adopted brother.
His my other adopted brother. His skin color is a lot darker than mine.
But back to
hey, Neil.
Hey, Neil.
Long time no see.
I know, right? I know he's staying busy with the Ghostbusters, but like I said, I'm not big. We're gonna go back to the subject we started off with.
Yeah, we can get to finish talking about Margaret, but yeah, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, David Lynch. I'm not well known in him besides, like I said, Twin Peaks. And
yes, I know, Dion. He said I'm black and I love chicken.
Well, I kind of feel like there's a Lynch film for everybody, and maybe you don't even love it completely. Like sometimes it speaks to you a little bit. So one of the other films that I kind of neglected to mention in that chronology during the time, because he kind of took a break. Well, he was working on other stuff while he was working on Twin Peaks, and then he kind of dipped out from Twin Peaks slightly and then kind of came back at the end. But he made this other neat movie. And I think these days, because people are such big fans of one of the main actors, that this film should be more appreciated, and it should be a gateway Lynch film for a lot of people. And I'm talking about Wild at Heart, starring Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern.
I haven't seen that one.
And that strikes me as if there were a Lynch film that you might be able to get behind, knowing our conversations we had, I'd like to think maybe Wild at Heart would be a good one for you.
I think you mentioned one to me. I'm trying to remember the name correctly. We just saw it streaming the other night. That we're doom scrolling.
So unfortunately, it's not on any of our streaming.
Would that be Lost Highway or
Eraserhead?
Yeah, Eraserhead, the first one we mentioned. That was his first film.
We saw it on Tubi last night when we were scrolling to try to find.
Tubi's had some of his stuff over the last few months, and you can stream Twin Peaks sometimes on Pluto TV, I believe. Has had it for a while for free.
I think Pluto, and I think I saw it on Peacock at one point too.
Yeah, it's also on if you have Paramount Plus. I think some of it's on there.
We do have Paramount Plus, so there's that too.
Well, for right now, I think there's something going on with Paramount Plus and Warner Brothers. So I think Paramount Plus.
There's always something going on everywhere.
I think they said Paramount Plus is about to go bye-bye.
Paramount Plus is about to sell off a bunch of their rights to certain things due to Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
But like I said, I mean, like I said, when we start talking to you and when start finding out your knowledge behind not just David Lynch, but just other
Twin
pop
Peaks
culture in
and-
general. And we found out, like I said, then you told us that.
I mean, look at the collection behind her.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
now people can actually see some of your collection behind you.
I mean, that's just CDs.
Like to collect.
Well, that's like with I know with it being Pride Month and everything. We watched a movie the other night, and it was the first time I had ever actually seen it, and it got my attention.
I hate when she talks about it, but won't say the title.
I'm trying to remember the title now.
It's right there. I can tell. You got it.
It had now it's gonna bug me now.
Anyway, while we're waiting, but like I said, I mean, out of all the David Lynch's, what is your number one to go to, and what is your not one you don't want to go to?
That's kind of an interesting one and an easy one, but it's yeah, okay. So it's hard for me to pick one, but I tend to watch.
Thank you. You're
Twin
welcome
Peaks.
for putting you on the spot.
Well, because you have me on edge because I still wanted to talk about Margaret Lanterman. But
okay, we can go continue that then. Let's go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, Margaret is just such a unique character, and even though she's like kind of got a bit of a gruff, silent disposition, especially if you take in the greater Twin Peaks lore, because we also got some books later, even little tidbits. Like, there's also the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer that was released, and that even gives Margaret more things to where she, to me, becomes one of the most endearing characters in the whole show. She is just a complete, just a powerhouse, really. Like, in terms of, like, she wears her feelings on her sleeve. You just almost wouldn't know it. And she ends up having this backstory to where, like, she was a big pioneer in forestry and all of these things. She also has, a very tragic love life and all these things. So, you look at that lady, by the time you soak in all this lore, holding that log, and you're like, damn, that is one of the coolest, most badass, like, noble characters I have ever witnessed. Like, she is just amazing. And they actually did.
She's one of the main ones I remember from that show.
Right.
Oh, she's there in every episode.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That when we talked before, is that is the one late character I do remember.
And you see, and that's a great thing, because in some ways she was the backbone of the show. That character was something that Margaret or Catherine Coulson and David Lynch kind of came up with and thought about. Like, you had this idea, and it was kind of like for a game show where you'd ask the log, or the log would like answer questions or ask questions or something like that. And like the idea was like that this woman would like curate the log or something. And so like that idea just never got anything else, and it got nested into Twin Peaks. And so we got Margaret Lanterman, and she's really wonderful. And literally like the first time we get to see her is like at a town hall meeting, and she's like flicking the lights, looking all kind of annoyed because it's not starting. And you hear Dale Cooper lean over to Sheriff Truman and go like, who's the lady with the log? And Sheriff Truman's just like, we call her the log lady. And it's like, after that's doom, boom, mic drop. She's just, yeah. And she's interesting. And then if you actually, depending on what versions of Twin Peaks and stuff you have to rewatch, sometimes streaming doesn't give it to you, but if you have stuff like the Gold Room box set, and I believe the Z to A box set, which has gotten re-released, when they syndicated for this Bravo or something like that back in like the mid to late 90s, it didn't get syndicated very much, but David and Catherine came together and recorded these very low quality like VHS camcorder intros. So there are the log lady intros to these episodes, and so it's kind of fun to watch it without them and then watch it with, I don't know, it works either way, because you watch it with them the first time and they're very interesting and they set a tone.
That was a weird.
And then you watch them with them, or watch it again, and you're like, wow, they're really telling you a lot without telling you a lot. It's pretty cool.
Now you got me wondering about the cream corn.
Oh yeah, cream corn's definitely.
She mentions cream corn in one of her intros, and then later in the episode, it's a magic trick with cream corn. Literally, it's a magic trick, because 1 minute it's on the plate, the next it's in the kid's hands.
So cream corn and things,
Hey,
the
can you
first
make
time you
that?
watch Twin Peaks, you're gonna kind of take it at face value, and you should, and it's gonna be a little
He's just
confusing, but
dodging
basically
tornadoes.
you're gonna learn about the relationships of the people in the town and kind of how they interact with each other, and that's really what the story kind of becomes more about. But then you start to realize there's some other weird stuff going on, and there's like maybe even some subtext, or like the storytellers are also giving us some other languages to use. And so one of them is that it gets kind of established that creamed corn in particular represents something, and it does get given a name later on, being called Garmonbozia, which we get a direct translation when that word is actually given to us of pain and sorrow.
Interesting.
So and there's some interesting interpretations of that. You know, Twin Peaks is one of those shows where some people can see it as a story that it is, and there's a lot that it's telling us, and we can follow it, and it is the story. And then other people read into it and think it's this thing. And I mean, and they may be right. You don't know, but like the characters are self-aware and know that they're in a television show, and so they're supposedly these clues. And it really, you can kind of get different readings on it. It's one of those things. But yeah, so you know, I guess you could say, in some ways, corn is a very easily available commodity that we consume a lot of. It's kind of a junk food. What do you eat when you watch a movie? A lot of times you're eating popcorn. So, you know, there can be a lot of things. You also have Native American things going on with, you know, corn was a new America food, and all of that stuff. So there's a lot you could get into, kind of like the way people read into The Shining with its different messages of in different layers of things, more than just a guy freaking out about alcoholism.
Very deep movie, even for someone who doesn't really like pay attention. It's still a pretty deep movie to sit there, and even if you're half paying attention to it, there's stuff that you're like, what's the message? What's the meaning behind that, or what's the issue with that? Like blood.
They said there was always a meaning of something meaning something else.
Well, that's the whole thing that I really get into, is the idea of an auteur filmmaker, where really nothing you see in the shot is, you know, by accident. It's all very deliberate. It was either left in because it served a purpose. Maybe even it wasn't intended. It was something they found when they went to shoot, but it was still a conscious decision that director and cinematographer or whoever made. And Lynch and Kubrick are the just top examples of those things. Any shot of their film, you could close your eyes, hit pause, and look at it, and it's a photograph. It looks like it's out of National Geographic or some magazine or something. It tells a story without needing anything, and that's part of what I think is really important about their work, and something that Lynch having that background in actual painting, and then Stanley Kubrick having a background in still photography. You know, it's very similar worlds crashing in, and then you have this like hyper focus kind of, you know, thing that they would do, and it's just really amazing. But so I wanted to fast forward just in case we start to run out of time. The kind of really special thing also about Twin Peaks, like I said, it ended, and we got a very interesting ending, which Patch will soon, I'm sure, have a lot to talk about. One day soon.
There's already a lot to talk about.
But so some time passes, very little, and in about 1992, we get this amazing film, Fire Walk with Me, which Ben asked me earlier if I had to pick my favorite Twin Peaks films or favorite David Lynch films and my more least watched David Lynch films. At the top of my list is got to be Fire Walk with Me for my own reasons, but it's not a film that I would say is my favorite film to recommend to somebody, because you can't watch it out of context. You have to watch Twin Peaks season 1 and 2, and then and possibly read The Secret Diary and you know, the Dale Cooper tapes, any of that back lore stuff. And then you got to watch this, because like I was saying earlier, David Lynch being very ahead of his time, here's a guy in 1992 making a prequel.
You're good, Matt.
So, you know, that was something that we didn't really see too often, and we get a lot of now. But this was a guy doing that before anybody else. And so this goes and tells the story of the last 7 days leading up to what we saw happen at the beginning of Twin Peaks. So we as an audience get led in. Okay. But then there was a message given in the early work saying, see you again in 25 years. And about 20 years later, after the show was canceled, some deal got struck with Showtime, and Twin Peaks was resurrected for a third season, and we got Twin Peaks: The Return. And with that,
I remember hearing about that, and it just kind of threw me off because I knew that there was, from the clips and everything that I saw of the remake, I couldn't really understand it because because of course I had never seen the original show, so I was so confused. So I didn't bother with the remake until now.
See, and that's the thing. A lot of people didn't know what to expect. A lot of people were hostile. You know, they've held this show in high regard. A lot of people were, you know, lantern keepers of the fandom for many years, and they poured themselves into it. Many content creators started with a lot of Twin Peaks stuff and still go back to it because you can mine it just endlessly for things. But yeah, the really interesting thing is that it's had this ability to kind of keep going. And with what was that last thing you just said, Patch? I'm sorry. You had mentioned something really kind of cool that I wanted to touch on.
I was just talking about the fact that I saw clips of the revamp and everything, and it was confusing to me because I had never knew about the original, so I just kind of went on, and now that it's coming back into my thought process and everything.
Okay, sorry. Oh, but I was gonna say that's great. And you totally reminded me. And so that was the thing is, you know, this show came back after 20 some odd years, and a lot of people wanted Twin Peaks. You know, they wanted the show that they fell in love with, this show that they've been holding this you know, heart for so long. But then that's not exactly what some people got. So that that definitely divided some people at first. It was kind of like a new meal.
Okay, we got a question in the chat room for you. This is from Joseph Jacks.
It's Captain Jack.
It's Captain Jack I know he is also from Greenstream. If I were to watch, is there anything I should look or read up on?
Yes, if you're watching Twin Peaks season 1 or 2, you're going to want to look up The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, as well as the Dale Cooper audio tapes. You can find audio versions of both of them. You can find digitized versions as well as physical copies of them. Physical copies can be a little harder to wrangle, but those give a lot of really cool back lore to things. You know, when you see certain things and characters or certain passages are read in the diary, you know now more what sandwiches them and stuff. And then once we get the return, which is pretty interesting, and what people don't realize with the return is it does give you everything you want, just not in the way you thought you were going to get it. So it's very true to life, and I think that that's what Lynch is kind of trying to tell us. But anyway, so when that last few episodes were made, Mark Frost was also busy writing a couple of books. So he also got Twin Peaks: The Final Dossier, or Twin Peaks: The Secret History, and then Twin Peaks: The Final Dossier. And Final Dossier is very short, but it goes in and gives us some of this backstory, some of these characters, and gives us more explanations of what happened to some people and things that we didn't see in the show. But it also does some things that are going to raise a lot of questions. And I'm not going to get into that, but those who are listening that know what I'm talking about know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's really cool, and it's all in the spirit of the thing, because essentially Twin Peaks, it's not going to make a lot of sense because I don't want to say too much, but imagine a show that turns into not only like almost like a figure eight of infinity, but a Mobius strip. So it's turning upside down as it's coming around onto itself. After a while, when you start to really soak into what's going on in this whole Twin Peaks universe, it's like, whoa, you're compelled to go back and watch the beginning and then come back through it and then see how you feel about it and stuff, which is really cool.
Definitely I'm going to have to really break down and watch it.
You're going to have to, yeah.
I'm going to have to rewatch it.
And also the reference behind us, you're going to have to explain that to him too.
Yeah.
Mentioning why you asked for the owl back.
Because it was there, and owls are very much in the theme of Twin Peaks. Owls weren't necessarily inserted by David Lynch. He, in an interview at one point, said that, you know, Mark, that was something Mark did. But the phrase is said as a message from the giant to Dale Cooper in the opening episode of season 2, one of the things that he said is that the owls are not what they seem. So, as well as owl themes continue throughout the show, and we get Owl Cave, and we get the Owl Signet, and a few other things. And they're cool, you know. They're there, and as well as
that episode, that's one that we just recently watched, actually.
Yep. And also, you know, Lynch's work, you know, like when you see the opening of Blue Velvet, you know, you're starting off with these white picket fences and tulips and roses and people watering fences and stuff, and then you sink below, and then you see like all this darkness, and then, you know, Jeffrey Beaumont goes on this crazy little, you know, rabbit, you know, Alice down the rabbit hole thing, and finds out all this stuff that's going on while he's asleep in bed, thinking that his town is just this quiet little nothing.
I usually have a notebook.
And so Lynch essentially does the same thing with all of you know, Fire Walk with Me and all of this stuff, and even Twin Peaks as a whole. Is it's like, you know, you have this idealistic little quiet mountain town. The population sign reads a little higher than it should, but you know, that was the studio kind of arguing. But you know, you've got, you know, a couple thousand people at best in this town, and in all reality, then they don't think there's much going on. We don't get that kind of crime around here. But little did they know, you know, not everything is as it seems. It's very true to life. You know, people mask. You don't necessarily get everything in one take. You gotta kind of buy the ticket, take the ride.
You're just looking at the wrapper. You don't know what's on the inside.
Yep. Can't judge a book by its cover. And so, like, yeah, that thematically becomes very much a thing.
Well,
and then
that goes through a lot of different pop culture and stuff, with the theme of sometimes they don't want you to see what's behind the curtain and everything.
Oh, very true. And Lynch pulls a lot from Wizard of Oz and stuff. There is literally a documentary called Lynch Oz, and it's all about his relationship and his love and insertion of Wizard of Oz. One of the later scenes, I don't even think it's on the back here. No, it didn't make it on the back. But you know, Wild at Heart, the movie I was talking about earlier. You know, we literally get a character, you know, like Glinda the Good Witch comes down and delivers a message in this movie. It's great. And you know, Lynch does like to kind of give things a certain type of ending and a certain kind of hope. And you know, he had these interesting you know, kind of outlooks on life and stuff like that. He was a daily meditator. And so a lot of his work, you know, is just inspired by imagery and things that he's pulled out of his head and ideas that he's put together. And one of his greatest works that I think really, you know, I mean, it really, Lost Highway is very similar to some of the vein of some of the things you see going on in Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me. But then we get into what's arguably like kind of his masterpiece of all time, which is Mulholland
I've heard of that.
Drive.
It's another one I've never seen.
This is an amazing movie, you know, very much influenced by like Sunset Boulevard and some of the other things, you know, some of the names of characters and stuff. And, you know, Lynch is very thematic. You know, you see stuff going on where it's like, go back and watch his other films and you just kind of like see weird little coincidences. Like in, you know, The Return, there's this whole 119 thing going on. And then it's interesting, watch Mulholland Drive, and in one of the earlier scenes, there's an accident, and you're seeing all these, you know, ambulances and police cars and fire engines and stuff, and a lot of them say 911, but if you look, the fire engine's number is 119, and so you're like, okay, he's got a thing with 119. It's not just a coincidence, like maybe, you know.
No, that's like with a lot of directors
or it is
and stuff. They have their little
Easter eggs.
Their little Easter eggs that they want to kind of slide in there and see if any of their true fans or anybody catches it.
Well, there is that. Yeah, people want to pay homage to their influences and
exactly.
give little lanterns and you know, hat tips and things like that. But then with Lynch it gets interesting, because Lynch believed in, like, you know, the sea of collective unconsciousness, this well of ideas that we're all pulling from, and mostly we tap into them in our dreams. And, you know, through meditation, he believed that you could also access these things. And some of that is also reflected in his work. There is some messaging and stuff like that. But it's interesting to think that he would say that, like, you know, you gotta, you know, go deep to get the big fish and the good ideas and all this stuff. But then I think he's one of those people that like you ever talk to people where they say like, okay, I have an idea for something, but if I say it, I breathe it out into the universe. Now someone else can get that idea. Like watch, tomorrow I'll see some new product coming out and it's that idea I've had.
Oh, I'm a firm believer of that. Yeah,
exactly.
But
So
it's
part of why
not-
Lynch would say that happens is because we're actually all pulling from the same well of ideas, this big ocean of collective unconsciousness. And so what's interesting about that, I can't go into it too much without getting into spoilers, but Fire Walk with Me, a lot of people would say is the art house version of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's funny that they're both very dreamy movies, and that Wes Craven talked about, being influenced by a dream and stuff like that, and being influenced by reading an article about dreams. And then it's interesting, if you make the comparisons, these are two people operating independently of one another, but it's kind of hard not to make that comparison.
By each other.
As well as there's some other weird connections, because like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Angelo Badalamenti worked on the soundtrack for that, and he did pretty much all of Lynch's work. And gosh, listen to those soundtracks. Like you could easily dismiss some of this weird, jazzy kind of stuff if you're not into it, but wow, all of Lynch's soundtracks are amazing. In particular,
I actually got a channel on Pandora that it has like movie and TV soundtracks, like just no words, just the music.
Or no,
it's another channel. And actually, that song of Twin Peaks came on the other day.
Oh, awesome! So that's probably the Julie Cruz track "Falling," which is the intro track. There is a vocal and non-vocal version of it, and it's pretty amazing. It used to actually come on sometimes on my commute when I would be going through this little area called Aromas, and there's a quarry, and they dry their their minings and stuff like that. So in the morning, it's kind of Twin Peaks-ish, where there'd be like this steam coming out as you're like going around this bend and stuff. And so I even remember one morning, I had like a little home run cherry pie, and the Twin Peaks theme was on, and I was munching it in the car as I was driving through that area.
Your life is surrounded by Twin Peaks, so
I feel the vibe. I need to go visit, the motherland of coffee and cherry pie. I haven't ever been up there, and being as that I even am a big music fan and stuff like that, seeing some areas up in there historically I think would be really cool. But Twin Peaks, I mean, the first time I was introduced to it, I kind of dismissed it. I realized seen it on TV and like syndication a little bit, because I was one of those kids that like anything mechanized or industrious or whatever. So that intro with the was like, okay, bird, what's okay, love nature, and then all of a sudden, whoa, okay, we have all this sawmilling stuff going on, and I can remember just being like, okay, where's this going? I'm following you. And then it would like kind of go into this pseudo like kind of soap opera kind of vibe, and I would just like little younger kid checks out kind of thing. But then at one point,
soap opera, it's just like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, and then I had this friend in high school that, when I was familiar with other Lynch stuff, I got into Lost Highway and, Eraserhead and stuff like that. I had a pretty good foundation, and then a friend of mine was kind of like, "I can't believe you don't like Twin Peaks," and I'm like, "I don't know, I kind of checked it out, but whatever." And so he threw Twin Peaks at me, and I watched the pilot. And I don't know, it was one of those things of where I was in my life at that time. So I just remember feeling like it took forever to get through it, and just all it was a bunch of people crying.
Are you cold?
No, it's just my legs being stupid.
Okay.
And so I, kind of hung it up, and then at some point I came back to it and I watched it and was like, wow, that was really interesting, to really finally see it in its entirety. And then I didn't really come back to it for a while. I had heard about the missing pieces getting released, which, if you're not familiar, for Fire Walk with Me, there's like 2 hours worth of footage that was not included in this movie, that was cut out for various reasons. So that got re-released at some point, leading up to before The Return. I don't remember the year exactly. I want to say like 2016, or 2014. And it actually got a theatrical release and stuff. And there are actually cuts that you can get of Fire Walk with Me, with that all reinserted into it. Really changes the film, makes it a bit longer for sure, but really cool stuff.
Probably definitely worth watch.
Yeah, and then so it wasn't until The Return was announced, and then I was like, oh crap, I got to do a rewatch on that. And so I skidded in just in time to watch that. And then unfortunately, because of my financial situation and stuff and streaming, I was not able to really watch The Return as it came out. I kind of had to get it like, as soon as it was done, which it got released pretty quickly, but they did do a couple episodes here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since then I own it on like 3 different formats and, a bunch of stuff, But anyway, I feel like I've been rambling.
We'll have a way to find a way to watch it.
One way or another, it's Crow. Crow's very crafty.
That's what I do.
Crows in general are very crafty creatures.
But yeah, we're definitely going to have to check out. Like I said, I'm going to have to rewatch Twin Peaks. It's all there is to it. It's been years since I watched it.
Rewatch it. I'll probably watch it with you.
No,
just so I can remember.
No, you got to watch it with Crow. You got to watch it with Crow.
Well, we get to finish it and then you get to watch it. But that's the thing is like, so I'm so terrible. Sometimes I'll be watching Twin Peaks with 3 different people. Including myself. So I'll be watching like my random Twin Peaks, and then like I'll be like somewhere in season 1 with this person, somewhere in season 2 with this person, and like halfway through Return with another person. So it's yeah, so I could see it like where like if you and Ben were to start now, like there's no way you're gonna catch up to us. So you'll always be like a season ahead at least. So you could do it. And you're just like reinforcing.
Melissa said it is on Pluto TV.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, check it out. It's a little tricky to watch with commercials, but it's like when it originally came out. It's like
like TV.
You got 1 episode a week, and yeah.
Nowadays, anything you stream now is going to have commercials anyway. So
just about.
So
totally. But yeah, and then check out his other stuff too. You got your Lost Highway, your Blue Velvet. It's starting to come out more. This is an import version, but the Straight Story. David Lynch actually directed based on a true story. This movie for Disney, of all things, and it was the story about this guy that drove like a state or so on a riding mower to go visit his estranged brother, and it's really. It's you just gotta watch. I don't know how to explain it. Just you'll probably like it. You just gotta watch it.
The Straight Story. Straight Story. I got it written down. That's 2 of them I'm gonna have to watch now besides Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I would say you'd like The Straight Story, and you would like
Found it.
Wild at Heart.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it like just got added to Disney Plus recently. It wasn't available for a while. Disney was kind of shunning it.
Director David Lynch, starring Richard Farnsworth, Sissy Spacek, Harry Dean Stanton, Everett McGill, John Farley, and Kevin Farley.
It's one heck of a cast, and Harry Dean Stanton was a good friend of Lynch, as well as Jack Nance, who played Eraserhead himself, and so you'll see them peppered in throughout. Kind of like directors like Kevin Smith or Quentin Tarantino. They all have their little people they like to throw in there and stuff that they like working with, and Lynch was no different.
Well, I do have it saved on my list on Disney Plus.
Well, that'll work.
Makes it easier to find it later.
Right.
This is fun for me because now for the next week or two, I can recommend to people if I start a conversation. Like, oh, you can find that on Disney Plus right now. You should go on.
Yeah, it's there.
No shameless plug. No sponsor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
That's what I was saying about with
excuse me.
With Pride Month, The Adventures of Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert.
There you go. I knew if you gave you enough time, you'd remember.
You had to Google it, but she found
it. I did have to Google it, but all I had to Google was Terrence Stamp,
right,
to be able to find it.
I don't want to see Lord Zod or General Zod. No. I'm not looking.
It's just General Zod again. What are you talking about? But I mean, yeah, you get Terrence Stamp, General Zod. You get I had their names earlier. Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith, and then you get
Lord Elrond.
What's his name? Pierce.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce. He was. I mean, all these guys have been,
leading
roles in some pretty interesting stuff, and then to see them playing these
still can't get over
these queens driving across Australia.
Ping pong balls. the tricks with the ping pong balls. I still can't get
it's
over
a crowd
that.
pleaser. I mean,
He'll
she
still always
wasn't
be
wrong. She
General
knew what she
Zod
was
to me,
doing.
no matter what he was in. He'll always be
Well,
General
that's
Zod.
like with Tu Wong Fu. They will always be other characters for me. Patrick Swayze will always be Roundhouse, Roundhouse.
Nope.
No.
Roadhouse?
Roadhouse. Where was I getting Roundhouse? Oh.
Peter Griffin from Family
Roundhouse
Guy.
was a show on Nickelodeon.
But
yeah.
Well, we are at the 5-minute mark. Crow, we just want to appreciate you coming on here and showing us your enthusiasm.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
That's our word for today, enthusiasm.
We need to start doing a word for the day.
Enthusiasm is good. Well, technically we kind of talked about Garmonbozia. That could be your word, and I cannot tell you how to spell that right now for the life of me, but
I'm sure you'll let us know when you do.
Ow.
No, I mean it's easy to look up, but
but to anyone who has any, like I said, if any of our viewers you want to learn anything about David Lynch,
or
Twin
any
Peaks,
recommendations
quirkier, and you got questions, Crow's got the answers. Just so, where could they find you?
I'm on Blue Sky at Green Is Its Color. I'm on Instagram as Green Is Its Color, and you can find me on Facebook, Vellany Crow.
Right there.
Yeah.
And like I said, also check her out because we will be we've said this multiple times. Deep South Paracomic-Con in Enterprise, August 8th and 9th. Miss Vellany Crow right here, she will be one of our guests coming in from California for this event. It's going to be Ghostbusters out to Wazoo this year.
You're not
right there.
You're going to be able to turn around and not see.
Yeah, it's going to be a Ghostbuster Chaos live from Enterprise Civic Center, August 8th and 9th at the Enterprise Civic Center right there. Like I said, we got Ghostbusters coming in from different states.
We've got horror actors.
We got
horror actors.
Spooky movie actors coming in. Robert Mukes. We got James Stokes. We got Dr. Letriana Brown and her husband. Y'all just check it out. DeepSouthParaComicCon.com. $8 online.
And then at the door, $10 and some change.
So it's a great event. Come check us out. Like I said, come ask Twin Peaks in person.
I'd love to talk Twin Peaks and David Lynch with anybody that dare wander up.
She's going to be, check her out. She'll be the only one with green hair in the Ghostbuster uniform.
That's me. Well, there is another green-haired Ghostbuster that takes that.
But you're ours.
But you're the one. You're the only one that we know of that's coming down.
You're ours.
True.
But anyway, check us out. DeepSouthParaComicCon.com. You see everything we're got going on there. Like I said, we can't say thank you enough to Vellany Crow for granting us with her presence
anytime
this Thursday evening. Even though it's starting to get dark here, still bright daylight behind you.
Yeah, I still got a little more daylight left, luckily.
Oh, we don't. We got about another hour, maybe that long. But like I said, check us out. We can't thank you enough. But next week we got another great announcement. We'll let y'all know tomorrow.
We'll do the announcement tomorrow.
We'll do the announcement tomorrow of our guests for next week. But once again,
suspense.
Yes, exactly. You got to come back. Check us out on Facebook and all that to find out the answer tomorrow. But Vellany Crow, thank you again. It was a pleasure talking David Lynch and Ghostbusters and everything like that. I'm sure we can't wait till August 8th.
I truly can't wait because I can't wait to actually get to see her face and
break her neck trying to give you a hug. Yeah. But anyway.
But it's the Crow. All this talking that we get to do online, it
that's why I think they're going to try and come down a little earlier so we don't get so emotional.
We're not overwhelmed with trying to hang out.
But
we got this.
So anyway, thank you again for being on our show tonight. You can find us all over social media. You can find Crow all over social media. Hit her up for Twin Peaks David Lynch info. She's always wanting to talk about it.
Always.
Hit us up.
She's always throwing it in the conversations.
It's like Kevin Bacon. It goes around in circles.
It's one of my hyper focuses. It's just
Like at times it seems like the conversations some way have a David Lynch sneak in.
Right. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and let this go for the night. Crow, thank you for coming on once again.
Thank you.
And this has been Big Ben
and Sour Patch
for Pop Culture Chaos right here on Facebook, Web Radio Network. See y'all next Thursday, 7 p.m.
See
you later.
The theories get wild when the rumors hit hard, and the timelines go sideways. Late night talking about the things you love, from comics to movies and stars above. If it's strange, if it's loud, if it's breaking the mold, they're the voices bringing chaos, both from the shadows to the spotlight glow. If it's trending now, they already know. Debates get heated, opinions clash. Turn it up, it's pop culture chaos. Here gonna call pop culture chaos. Turn it up and Brackin, bringing the fire. Sour Patch taking it higher. Who you gonna call pop culture chaos? If it's weird, right or outrageous, they break it down contagious. Ghosts in the screen or heroes in flight, they're diving deep every single night. So retro